Are you thinking about hiring a virtual assistant, but you're wondering, how do I find the right VA for my business needs? Then this episode is for you. Hello, lovely dynamic women, and welcome to the Dynamic Women podcast. I am Diane Rolston, your host, and this is a very special series that I'm doing called The Ultimate Guide to Bringing on a Virtual Assistant. The first episode in this series went over what tasks can a virtual assistant handle for me. And then I did an interview with one of my clients in the VA Made Easy program called Barb Stuhlemer, and we talked about how she is leveraging a virtual assistant to help her business and making it more friendly for scaling and selling later on. And in this episode, I want to go into how do I find the right virtual assistant for my business needs. Now, I'm going to be upfront. I took a program learning how to hire and I did that even though in my background in the corporate world, I spent every quarter we hired and I went through the hiring process. I was trained in it. I then led it and I feel very confident in that process. Then moving into working for myself, I needed to hire contractors, freelancers, and also hiring really assistants, personal assistants, executive assistants, business assistants, whatever you want to call them for my business, and also went through that hiring process. But I still invested in someone teaching me how to hire because this was hiring for a virtual assistant in the Philippines, also known as OFSs, online Filipino specialists. And so I've been taught this process. I paid for this process, and I will not teach fully this process because it's her IP and I want to honor that. But what I will do is I will talk about kind of in general the things that you need to be thinking about looking for and know that you don't need to be really good at the hiring process. That's why we have Virtual Assistant Made Easy, because I can hire your virtual assistant for you or match you with one of the VAs on our team that we currently have. We have 13 VAs working with about 33 clients that we have. And so that is an option, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we do, a little bit more about what we work with, so that you can be looking for who is going to help me with this process. So let's go through. First of all, when you're starting a process of hiring a virtual assistant, whether they are going to be online or local or whatever it may be, international and or someone from your country, you always have to be thinking about what your wish list is. And we always ask our clients, what goals do you have? And it's less about what are the tasks that you want to delegate and more about what are the goals you have or your business needs. And so coming up with your own wish list, this is one of the activities I have my clients do, is thinking about how many hours a week do I want this VA to be working? Which hours of my day? Will they work in the morning, afternoon, evening? Will they work through the night when I'm sleeping? Will they work in that time? And people often are concerned, like, well, how do I how do I work with a VA from the Philippines when they are working such a different schedule? And it doesn't have to be that way. My two main VAs, Christine and Carissa, they work for me starting at about 3 p.m. Pacific time. But for them, that's like 7 in the morning. And it depends on if we're in daylight savings or not. But that's a good time for them, right? Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 7, and they prefer to work during their day. Now, when I hire virtual assistants, I always ask them, when do you want to work? And they're like, I can work anytime. And I'm like, but what's ideal for you? And the reason why I ask that is some of them like to work through their night. They prefer it. It's cooler, it's quieter, maybe the internet's faster, no one's bothering them, or that makes them just available during the day to their family. Some of them like to work during their day because maybe they have the kids and they don't want to be working through the night. They want to be around during the day, maybe to be able to get up and take them to school and then come back and work. So I always ask, what's ideal for you? And because I want them working at the best time for them, because I know they're going to be the freshest, they're going to give me their best work. That's most important to me. Um, Also be thinking about what do you want them to be like? Do you have any special preferences that you have about maybe their personality, any other demographics around them? Also, what special knowledge do you want them to have? Maybe a knowledge of specific industries or around certain technology or platforms. You're never going to find someone who knows every single software platform that you have at an expert level. If you listen to my podcast episode before around what to delegate, I talked about specialists and generalists. And so as I continue on, I'm going to continue talking about generalists rather than specialists, though some of these different specifics will be helpful with specialists as well. So, are there any top qualities that you want them to have, both personally and professionally? And is there anything else that's important to you? You're going to know what you need. And if you don't know all the questions to ask, that's where I come in and I ask all these questions. I have two surveys, a getting to know you survey and a what are you looking for in your VA survey. There's a lot of things that people don't think about, and they're things that I've learned in the process and in working with my VA and a team of VAs for 4 years. That has really helped me to be able to know the ins and the outs. But anyway, have your wish list. That's important. Let's keep going. So my hiring process, anytime we go and we post job postings for what we're looking for, it's quite the process. I'll let you know. We normally get about 300 applicants that apply within about a 24 to 48 hour period. And so we need to wean those down. We have them do a test task, we have written interviews, we have an actual interview with me. We have a trial week where I put them through uh, activities, tasks to test their ability. And these are standardized ones that we have been using with all of our VAs the numerous times that we've hired. And then we hire basically all of them that have been uber successful in that process. There's covert tests, overt tests along the whole journey. And I've had to make it extremely black and white, whether they pass or they fail at each piece, because I totally wear my heart on my sleeve. I read the sob stories. I like people's personalities. And I just want to hire people, right? I want to give them a chance if they're new. I want to help them out if they're struggling. If I like their personality, but their output's not as good, I want to hire them. And so the process that we have now refined doesn't allow me to hire. It doesn't anyone that I just want to help out or like. It only allows me to hire the people that are the right business decision. And what I find, it's so many times in people who I've talked to who have tried to hire, they didn't hire the right person to start with, or they wanted to give them a shot, or they didn't have a thorough enough process. Our process takes about 40 hours of time between my VA, Christine, and myself. It takes about 2 weeks to do or more, depending on, like, we just did a posting and we're looking also for Zoho specialists. That's a certain platform that a lot of speakers do, especially because I have a lot of clients from the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. And so I'm looking for a specialist in that, and I'm looking for VAs right now because we've had a few of our VAs move on for personal reasons or other opportunities. Very different than the VA approach. But what they're finding is they're not putting a thorough enough approach to the process, and they're missing pieces that they didn't even think of to ask about, to test on, and they're giving people way too many chances. And so I really love our process. And we've had people say, can my wife, husband, brother, friend, neighbor apply? Like people who are already on our team, can these people apply? Sure, go ahead. But they have to pass the tests. And I say to my staff, please do not help them. Please do not give them a heads up on anything. Because if later we find out that they're not as good and they just somehow got through, I won't be happy. And so our VAs are very good about not helping because they also don't want it to come back to them where their family member or friend, neighbor, or whatever it may be, isn't actually as good as they came across because they were helped, right? So anyway, we do this process and we're looking for specific things that are probably concerns that you're having, especially in hiring a virtual assistant from another country. Things like, are they proficient in English? And we look at both written and oral, prepared and off the cuff. Well, I also look at how they communicate with me, how they communicate with Christine, because she helps me with the hiring process. Um, we look at things like, can they give us great results at a fast pace? Are they skilled at many tasks, right? The general virtual assistant. Can they transfer the skills they know on a task that they've done before to a new task or a new platform? So there's a lot of things that we are looking for in these Filipino VAs. And then I hire based on four major criteria: their ability, their speed, their results, and the communication. Um, Even from the very, very beginning, the application I put out there is very specific about what we're looking for. I hope that that weeds out a lot of people. And it also has a really good write-up about us and what we do and what we're looking for and what we're wanting to offer to our virtual assistant. So that's a little bit of our process. And then once we have them on board with us and I've tested them out for those 15 hours to see what they can do, and I personally review everything, then we bring them on. And then we match them to our clients with as much of that information as possible. That's going to tell us, yeah, this client's wish list is a really good match for this VA. Usually we have someone on our team or we've just hired someone that is going to be a really good fit for them. So when you are kind of coming into this place of bringing on this VA, as honest as you can be in the beginning and as much prep work as you can do, the better. A lot of people come to me and they say, "Oh, Diane, I'll come to you as soon as I know what I'm going to delegate. I'll come to you as soon as I have my systems and processes in place." Don't, don't, don't. Let me help you with our program, VA Made Easy, to figure out what to delegate. Let your VA make your systems and processes for you. I train them on how to do that so that you don't have to document processes. Don't try to figure out the hiring process. Just let me match you with one of ours. And then if you're like, but what if I don't like them? What if it's not working out? Well, my goal is to work with you and to work with them to make sure it is a long-lasting, fabulous relationship where they are extremely efficient and you are able to maximize their time. You know, it's funny, a lot of times I thought in matching VAs and connecting them with clients that the VA potentially would be the one having a lot of the problems. However, what I'm finding is clients are actually causing a lot of the problems. And so the more in this hiring process and this onboarding process that I can help you or the client to be able to really get matched in a great way and to get really clear about the tasks that they want done and the hours they want them worked and to lead them through all the things they never thought of, like asking if they have a backup generator, that sort of thing. Once we get them matched, it usually is a very, very strong match. So the thing that a lot of clients are worried about is I have to be all prepared before I can actually start working with a VA. And that's actually not true. You just have to have some tasks ready to go. And this is why the first couple modules in working with me are going to help you to figure out what to delegate and teach you how to pass things off and use a project management tool. These things are crucial in starting to work with a VA and hitting the ground running. And thankfully, for you, I set all of that up for you so you don't even have to worry about it, and our VAs know how to use it. The other thing that I have found to be extremely beneficial is making sure that the VA doesn't work for anyone else. And you may think, well, if I'm only going to give them part-time hours, like we do 10 hours a week is where we start, how am I going to give them enough work or enough money to help to keep them employed with just me? Well, you can't. They're going to need at least 40 hours. But that's the other thing is unless you're willing to give them 40 hours, they will work for other people and they will have other people and clients and situations pulling at them. And so, what we have decided to do with some trial and error is now we're at a point where we give the VAs all the hours that they need from just our clients. And so that you know that your VA is not out there looking for other work, right? Trying to line up the next client, the next project. They don't have to worry about that. They're in a stable, consistent job or employment, as we maybe want to say instead. They have consistent, stable employment with an employer who pays them every single week. They know they have their money coming in. They know that they have clients coming in. So if one client drops off, they know that I'm going to find them another client. This helps them to focus primarily on working with you and their other clients that they have, to not have any anxiety or fear about that. That stability that they have is really important. And to go and hire on your own, unless you're going to give the 40 hours, you probably can't do that. You can't ask them to not work for anyone else. And so what that does is we call it like a cooperative clients. So if you know that your VA has 3 other clients, if there's an emergency that someone has, maybe you have an emergency, you have to get this document made to send off, and you want them to make it graphically appealing to the eye. And so you are like, oh, I need this done. And then they're like, well, I'm working for someone else right now. I'll see what I can do. So they spin around to the other client and they say, hey, one of my clients has an emergency. I need to do this right now. Are you okay if I work on these social media posts later today? More than likely, uh, this cooperative other client will say, yeah, no problem, no problem. And so that's the benefit too, is that your VA is using the same project management system with every client that they have, that they are using the same time tracking software that we have them download onto their computer, that they they know that they can easily talk between, that there's going to be some equality and fairness there. And so that's another piece to be thinking about when you're looking to hire a VA. A lot of people have come to me after hiring a VA themselves, and the VA has ghosted them. The VA has not been performing to the way they need to be. The the VA has quit on them because they found someone better to work for, meaning more money, more hours, better tasks, whatever it may be. And then they're left in the cold. And then they come to me and they say, "Ah, it never worked out." Or they've hired an agency, a company who matches them with someone, and they didn't feel like they got that personalized connection to the company. And then afterwards, when it's not working out and they say it's not working out, they're just they're left. Um, and they're left on their own to try to figure things out. And that's definitely not the approach we take. I call it more of a boutique style, where I personally talk to you, I personally know the VAs, and I match you. And then if it's not working on either side, it's my job to talk to both of you and help to make that work, because it's much easier to get that to work. A lot of times it's just a miscommunication, right? But that's the good thing about having a mediator in there, to be able to help both sides to be really happy, because it helps you to be more efficient with the time that you have, and to get more done and to work better together for the long term. But hey, if it doesn't work out, I'm also here to support that and to match you with another one of our VAs. So there's so many things to think about in that process of finding the right virtual assistant for your business needs. But the key thing just to be thinking about is, what's your wish list into what they're going to be like and what they can do. And then also looking at what are the tasks, the systems that you're wanting them to accomplish, so that you can specifically request what you're looking for. If you want me to hire your virtual assistant for you or match you with one of our team members, then please reach out to me, Diane at DianeRolston.com. We'd love to invite you into the VA Made Easy program, where getting a VA is much easier. And you're going to have the proven strategies that I put into place through my experience in not only hiring Christine and Carissa and being able to work with them for 40 hours a week for the past 4 years, but also hiring all of my team who are successfully working with 30 plus clients at the moment. Okay, if you have questions, feel free to also email me, Diane@DianeRolston.com, or post a comment on one of the social platforms, DM me, um, and I'd be happy to clarify any questions that you have. But remember, it's not going to get any easier if you keep trying to do everything yourself. Today might be the day where you need to pass off some work. Please know that this is recorded as a podcast on the Dynamic Women podcast, as well as on my Diane Rolston YouTube. So if you prefer to watch it or listen to it, you got both options, as well as the blog that's on my website, DianeRolston.com, where you can read all of the same material. And if you're wondering, how did Diane do it all? I don't do it all. I record one video per week, and my team creates the YouTube video, the podcast, the blog, all the social posts, and the newsletter that shares about all of them. Do you want that process done? Reach out, let's connect, and have you join VA Made Easy. Until next time, stay dynamic. Bye.